What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com.
Here are my DFS picks for MLB Sunday, June 6th.
These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button
And hit that bell icon.
so you don't miss our new videos.
In this video, I'm going to go over my top DFS picks for today's MLB slate.
And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made.
Okay guys, we have a 10-game slate today, so let's take a look at the pitcher position. So if you're looking to pay up for pitcher, I like Corbin Burnes, I like Trevor Bauer, but if you want to take a chance here and save some salary at the pitcher position, high risk, high reward, take a look at John Grant with a 14% pitching advantage over a low salary batting team, the Cincinnati Reds. John Grant, he's only giving up a .395 OPS versus lefties and a .547 OPS versus righties. He's facing 5 lefties and 4 righties. And on top of that, the Reds have only hit 7 of his last 44 pitches. That's a 159 batting average. John Grant is $7,400 FanDuel salary, and he's $1,300 more on DraftKings. Now, he's only projected at 19 fantasy points, but I think that's a little bit low. I think he can score at least his season average here of 27 fantasy points. So he has an ERA of 1.60. His record is 4-3 on the season, pitching an average of 89 pitches per game, averaging 27 fantasy points per game. He scored 34, 30, and 25 fantasy points in the last 3 games. So I like John Gant as a high-risk, high-reward play here versus the Cincinnati Reds. Okay, let's take a look at the catcher first base position. I like Carlos Santana with a 48% batting advantage over a low salary pitcher, Bailey Auber. Carlos Santana is batting a .716 OPS versus righties, and Bailey Auber, he pitches his worst ball to switch hitters, 64% worse than his other pitches, giving up a .267 OPS versus switch hitters. Carlos Santana is $3,000 FanDuel salary, and he's $1,100 more on DraftKings. Projected at 10.5 fantasy points here tonight. He's averaging 11 fantasy points per game on the season, scored 0, 19, and 6 fantasy points in the last 3 games. So I like Carlos Santana here versus Bailey Auber. Okay, another catcher first base position I like. He's also eligible at third base on FanDuel. I like Jake Lamb with a 14% batting advantage over a low salary pitcher, Jose Urena. Jake Lamb is batting a .760 OPS versus righties, and Jose Urena throws 40% worse to lefties as he does righties, giving up a .984 OPS versus lefties. And Jake Lamb is 2 for 5, batting .400 with a .900 OPS versus Urena. And he's only $2,500 FanDuel salary, and he's $1,000 more on DraftKings. Projected at 8.7 fantasy points here tonight, averaging 8 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored 13, 6, and 19 fantasy points in his last 3 games. So he's been on fire. So I like Jake Lamb here versus Jose Urena.
Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, Just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups.
Okay, let's take a look at the second base position. I like Adam Frazier with a 19% batting advantage over Sandy Alcantara. Adam Frazier, he bats a little bit better versus righty pitchers, batting a .760 OPS versus righties. And Sandy Alcantara, he's pitching 17% worse to lefties as he does righties, giving up a .693 OPS versus lefties. And I like this pick because although it's a small sample size, Adam Frazier is 2 for 3, batting a .667 batting average and a 2.334 OPS versus Alcantara. So one of those 2 hits was for a home run. And he's only $3,000 FanDuel salary. He's $1,000 more on DraftKings, projected at 9.8 fantasy points here tonight, averaging 11 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored 13, 29, and 6 fantasy points in the last 3 games. So I like Adam Frazier here versus Sandy Alcantara. Okay, let's take a look at the third base position. I like Nolan Arenado with a 73% batting advantage over Wade Miley. Nolan Arenado, he's batting 11% better versus lefty pitchers, batting a .866 OPS versus lefties, and Wade Miley throws his worst ball by far to righty batters, 62% worse than his other pitches, giving up a .886 OPS versus righties. And I like this pick because Nolan Arenado is 7 for 21 with a .333 batting average and a .804 OPS versus Miley. He's $3,400 FanDuel salary, and he's $1,800 more on DraftKings. Projected at 11.3 fantasy points here tonight, averaging 11 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored 16 fantasy points last game, so I like Nolan Arenado here versus Wade Miley. Okay, who do we have at the shortstop position? I like Carlos Correa with a 21% batting advantage over Steven Matz. Carlos Correa, he bats a little bit better versus lefty pitchers, batting a .798 OPS versus lefties, and Steven Matz throws his worst ball versus righty batters, 18% worse than his other pitches, giving up a .941 OPS versus righties. And I like this pick because Carlos Correa is 2 for 5, batting .400 with a 1.6 OPS versus Matz. One of those 2 hits is for a home run. And Carlos Correa is $3,300 FanDuel salary. He's $1,200 more on DraftKings, projected at 9.2 fantasy points here tonight, averaging 11 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored 9, 47, and 6 fantasy points in the last 3 games. So I like Carlos Correa here versus Steven Matz. Okay, moving on to the outfield position. I like Andrew Benintendi with a 116% batting advantage over a low salary pitcher, Bailey Auber. Andrew Benintendi is batting 32% better versus righty pitchers, batting a .676 OPS versus righties. And Bailey Auber, he pitches 84% worse to lefties as he does righties, giving up a 1.400 OPS versus lefties. Now these OPS numbers are going to balance out for Bailey Auber, but doesn't look like he's pitching very well versus lefties or switch hitters. And Andrew Benintendi is $3,100 FanDuel salary. He's $500 more on DraftKings, projected at 10 fantasy points here tonight. He's averaging 10 fantasy points per game on the season, and he's been on fire, scoring 31, 16, and 16 fantasy points in the last 3 games. So I like Andrew Benintendi here versus Bailey Auber.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smiggity smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.